On this channel, Million Dollars Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. And what we do is look at what the S&P 500 has done in the last 100 years and project ahead what it might do in the future. Why do we look at the S&P 500? I want you to see this chart on your screen there. The average investor over a 20-year period averaged 3.6%, whereas the S&P 500 averaged 9.5. What is going on here? uh, People try to time the market. When the market's going up, they want to get in. When the market starts crashing, they try to get out and they don't know when to get back in. And that's just a problem. And I recently saw this stat. The average, this was back in 2022, but the median account for somebody 65 or older at Vanguard was only $87,000. And when I saw how easily somebody can get to at least a half a million, if not a million, I wanted to get this channel going. And I just saw this yesterday. 11 truths that investors must accept. And I want to just look at number one and number two. What's number one? You won't be able to consistently achieve investment returns in the mid teens. So people that are promising, oh, we can get you 15, 20% return over the years, it's just not going to happen. Any money, like it says, any money manager who claims they can deliver consistently outsized returns should be viewed skeptically. You're not going to get a guaranteed 15 or 20% return on your money. But number two, you will not you will likely not outperform the S&P 500 over the long term. That's what we do on this channel. Look at what the S&P 500 could potentially do with you over the long term. What's the S&P 500? It consists of the largest publicly traded companies in the United States. It is also one of the most widely cited benchmarks in the investing world. Notice this last statement. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to outpace this index over an extended period of time. That's why we use the S&P 500. What are we talking about here? How do you get to $1 million? Our channel is called Million Dollars Made Easy. I just want to show you some. Say somebody can invest $150 a month and they can increase that by 3% a year as they get raises or whatever. The first year be 1800 and so on. This is the monthly amount going down through here. The last 100 years, if you would have done that, if you would have gotten returns equivalent to what the last 100 years, what kind of a range might you have? Again, it depends on what period you're talking about. But if you're just starting out and you have, say you're 20 years old, you have 45 years till retirement, this is the kind of range you could be looking for if the market continues to do what it's been doing. And remember what it's been doing for the last 100 years. It's got ups and downs. We've got decades like the 1930s during the Depression when it was down, the 2000s when it was down. We got good decades, bad decades, but through it all, this is what you would average for a 45-year period, given this scenario, $150 a month, increasing that by 3% a year. You would put in 166,000 over that 45-year period. But look at this. In the worst case scenario for a 45-year period, last 100 years, you have 1.514 million. The median in this column would be 2.474. I put in the inflation adjusted numbers here with a 3% inflation rate. You can check those out. But say you just have 40 years, say you're 25, you'd still, in the worst case scenario, you'd have 930,000, which it looks like it's 1935. Let me just show you the numbers here. 1935, returns were like this column right here. After 40 years, you have $930,000. There it is right there, 930. That's what we do on this channel, showing you how easy it is to get to $1 million if you have the time. Let's say, example, you don't have as much time, but say you've already been able to accumulate, let's just say $30,000. That's what we do in this channel. We run numbers for people. Let's say you can contribute $300 a month. Let's say $350 a month. Increase that by 3% a year. Where might you be in 25 and 30-year periods? Again, uh, maybe you don't have the 30, 40, and 45 years. Maybe you have 30 and 35 years. Look at the 30-year column. 30-year column, the worst numbers you're going to see in this column is 1.169 million. What are we talking about? Somebody that's maybe 35 years old has already accumulated 30,000, can put $350 a month in, increase it by 3% a year. Bingo, over $1 million. The median in this column, 1.788. Again, inflation adjusted numbers are up here. But that's what we do on this channel. Show you can do this. You can do this. Well, let's say you only have 20 or 25 years, but you've been able to save up, let's say 75,000. Say you're closer to 40 years old. been able to accumulate 75,000. Same scenario, except let's say you can save $500 a month. $500 a month would be 10% of somebody making 60,000. Usually by the time you're 40, you've got a higher income than you had when you were 20 and 25. So let's just look at this scenario, 75,000 a month, 75,000 beginning. You're 40 years old and you can contribute $500 a month. You can increase that by 3% a year. What do those numbers show for the 25 year? Again, we're talking maybe a 45-year-old or 40-year-old anyway. 40-year-old, that's 25 years. There's the 1,015,000. The worst case scenario in this column for a 25-year period. There it is right there, $1 million. How do you get to a million? I'm just giving you some potential scenarios, just using the S&P 500. Let's do one other scenario. Let's say you got a 45-year-old. He's been able to save up 120,000 over the first part of his working career, the first 20 years or so. Let's say you can contribute, let's say it stay with the $500 a month. Let's just see how that would be in the 20-year column here. Beginning with $120,000, $500 a month, increasing that by 3% a year. Worst case scenario, yeah, $570,000, because 20 years is a short period of time, but the median in this column is 1.437. So it looks like you'd have to go up a little bit higher. Let's go with $650 or actually $700 a month. Update this and see if we get anywhere close to $1 million with that scenario. Again, it really works well if you've got the time. If you don't have the time, you just have 20 years and you can only do the 700 a month and you've got 120,000. The worst case scenario you're going to find in this column is 1929. Of course, 1929 was such a horrible year, the beginning of the Depression. 710,000. You see some of these other ones are kind of lower, but in a lot of cases, you're up over a million, up over 2 million. The median in this column is 1.647. But I guess the moral of the story is use the S&P 500. You're not going to beat it over time. But the big thing is give it the time. Get started when you're younger and look at these 35, 40, and 45-year numbers that we looked at in earlier videos. Again, you're just starting out. You got to relook at $150 a month, 45-year column. Again, just for quick review here, 1,000,005 right there. That, and again, this is the red's in the worst case scenario. The median is the 2.474. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers. If you want me to run numbers for you, I will gladly do it. Just give me these three criteria: number one, number two, and number three. The beginning balance, what you want that inflated, and then how much you're going to put in a month. And we'll run the numbers for you, and we'll see what the S&P 500 might do for you. Again, don't try to beat it. Most people can't beat it, so why even try? Just like Kiplinger said there. Over the long term, unfortunately, it's very difficult to outpace the index over an extended period of time. So go with what's worked for 100 years. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Please share this with others. I'll run numbers for anybody. This is a unique channel, we believe, because we run numbers for people and we just project ahead what might happen for you in the future using the S&P 500. Please share this with friends and family. Please like the video and thanks for watching.